Quick question. What size do you think the government should be? Leave a comment down below and I'll give you my answer at the end of this video. Today I want to talk about the government's response to coronavirus and how in some ways they've been getting out of the way of doctors and healthcare providers and even some small businesses, and how that is first helping us deal with the pandemic and also something that we should make law moving forward so that we have a better, freer economy, not just now, but in the future. And one of the main places that this is happening is in healthcare. And I want to start by talking about telehealth. At the beginning of this year, we were expecting 36 million telehealth visits, and now we're expecting more than 200 million telehealth visits. And that's because a telehealth visit keeps the doctor safe, keeps the patient safe, and also keeps the administrative staff safe. John Goodman has a line that if we want to have a better healthcare system, you free the doctor and free the patient. And telehealth, or allowing more telehealth, is a major part of getting there. We allow doctors to treat patients in the way they want to be treated. We allow patients to see doctors in the way that they want to see them. It doesn't mean that if you have something serious, you have to have a telehealth visit, but it does mean that it's an option for your everyday visit. Now, the federal government made these changes in several ways. Doctors don't need to be licensed in every state they're practicing medicine in. Doctors can practice medicine across state lines, and the federal government loosened the HIPAA restrictions so that doctors can use some of the most popular online tools to talk to their patients. Now, all of these were important, and we think that they're good now. We also think that they're good moving forward, and they were restricting doctors and patients. So this is a good step, and we need to look at continuing it moving forward. Now, states aren't being left out either. States are relaxing certificate of need laws, and certificate of need laws limited the amount of hospital beds in a given state. This was a bad thing when it was implemented, and I've personally fought against them for years. But the problem is hospitals have control of most of the beds, even though outpatient surgery centers often have cheaper, more effective care. Now, in response to the coronavirus, state governments relaxed these rules because then the outpatient surgery centers could serve as overflow beds for pandemic patients. But this is something that patients should have always had access to. And if we're looking at someplace like the Surgery Center of Oklahoma, a patient can get a surgery there at 10% of the cost of having it done in a hospital. If the Surgery Center of Oklahoma is limited on the amount of beds that they can have, that means that patients are forced over into the hospital system to pay more money. That is not something that the government should get in the way of outside of a pandemic, and that's why we should look at making this law moving forward as well. Now, we also have the drug industry, and the federal government has really done a good job of getting out of the way of the drug industry on research, on testing, on trials, and it's going to help us get over this pandemic a lot faster than what we would have if the government was getting in the way and throwing regulatory hurdles in front of these businesses. In fact, as soon as the government removed the restriction from tests needing to be sent to the CDC, testing almost doubled overnight. These removals are important to help us deal with the pandemic, but we also need to understand that they slow down research and drug availability when we're not in the pandemic. And if these restrictions weren't in place when we had the onset of the coronavirus, then the testing would have immediately been at a higher rate, and we might have been able to get ahead of this even sooner. And lastly, I want to talk about what I kind of consider a grab bag. We have a lot of other regulations that have been removed, but I want to focus on two today. One of those is that the federal government is now allowing independent distillers to make hand sanitizer. Now, if you know what hand sanitizer is made of, it is alcohol and then a few other ingredients, and the end result is a standard product. Well, that's what the independent distillers were making in the first place. They were producing alcohol, and most of the time they water that alcohol down so that they have a standard product that they put on shelves. So they already had the skills, but yet the federal government was restricting their ability to make other products. That is not a place that the federal government should have gotten in the way. If they had the license to make alcohol, they should be able to do what they want with that alcohol afterwards. And then there's one of my favorites, and that's because I've kind of looked at this issue for a while, and that's the fact that Alabama is allowing liquor stores to have curbside liquor sales. Now, that isn't groundbreaking in and of itself, and honestly, in the middle of a pandemic, it's kind of funny. But look, liquor laws across the country are a panoply of bad ideas. There's even high taxes force people across state lines. Sunday liquor laws force people across county lines and state lines. And then dry counties force people outside of those counties. It doesn't stop liquor buying. And the ability for a company to change the way they're doing business, to meet their customers' needs and also stay safe in the middle of a pandemic is something that they should be able to do outside of a pandemic as well. Now, for my answer when it comes to what the size of government should be, Grover Norquist has a great line on this, and he says that the government should be small enough that we could put it in a bathtub so the American people can drown it. Now, the idea isn't that we should do that to the government, but the idea is that the American people should be in control of the government. And I think that we see through this pandemic that the government is way larger than that right now. And it's something that we need to look at moving forward, is not just removing these restrictions and making government smaller, but what else can we do to make government smaller so that we, the people, can be in control of the government. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please hit that subscribe button, like and comment below. We'll see you next time.